So like you don't like to get smacked in the face and that like that?
Fuck no. If you smack me in the face, I'm gonna fucking smack you back.
Oh yeah, yo. Hey, yo. Pause the tape.
That's just real talk. That's as honest I can be.
Hey yo, okay, I gotta tell you something. So,
I might even try to stop myself, but
so is that really what?
Is my brain faster
Okay,
than my
wait,
reflexes?
wait,
I mean, if
wait,
you want to
okay.
test that theory, you know
Hold on. I had somebody smack me in the face.
wowzers. Chill.
Hey yo, I'm dead ass. Oh shit.
Fuck.
No, but I'm serious. And they oh, that's trauma, damn.
Oh,
But they did. They smacked me
wow.
and thought that I would be turned on by it.
Maybe they were showing you.
I didn't smack them back.
Maybe they were showing you what they wanted. What they wanted you
I
to
just
do.
left. I looked at him and I was like,
I'm gonna head on out.
I was ghost, man.
And honestly, shout out to people who seek consent before.
Fact. Ask me if I want to be smacked in my face before I give you this. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta.
Right. Wowzers.
Now, have you ever been weird though? If somebody asks you to like choke them, do you ever like? It's sex, people.
No, just answer the question. Ask the question. Ask the question.
You ever feel weird though, like when somebody be like choke me, and then you like be like, okay, it's kind of weird because like how do you gauge choking? Because it's weird, but then you like choke, but like you, because there's a certain way you can choke. In sex play, seek out proper guidance. Seek out the sex people that know the proper way to do these things. Don't be passing. Don't be doing unaliving folks.
Yeah,
that's a
gotta
real
be
thing.
careful out here.
Yeah, so I mean, we laughing and kikiing, but like for real, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, what do? Somebody's like, choke me, and you choking the shit out of them, or you just like, I always find it weird. It's like, I can't, like, putting my hands on your neck is just like, no, like, but people be wanting that shit. And not for nothing, that goes into a whole other conversation. Because if you're like, how do you differentiate if you are in a relationship and your sex play looks like that?
Okay.
Choking, smacking, real aggressive play. How do you differentiate or draw the line between that and like interfering with your regular relationship outside the bedroom? And do you think it's possible to have a distinction?
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of questions that you stacked up. Let me try to start at the beginning. So, if I'm having intercourse with someone and they ask me to choke them, yeah, I would. I would not try to asphyxiate someone.
But they say that's part of sex play too.
To the point of
asphyxiation.
To the point of where they pass out. Yeah, that just is.
It's weird. But
and if that's what someone wants, we would have to sit down and have like a conversation about why I don't feel comfortable with that, and like, yeah, because like this is why consent and conversation is important, because like people make a lot of assumptions, particularly when it comes to love, romance, sex, any of that stuff, right? Not that love, romance, sex are all the same thing, but they're in a category where people are often uncomfortable having open and honest conversations.
That's the real tea, is that people like kinky, nasty, raw dog ass shit in the bedroom. A lot of people don't want to say it, and then they doing things the wrong way. They not having these conversations about proper play and consent, and like, we got to do better. Anyways, carry on. Do better out there.
Okay. So the next question was, how do you differentiate when your sex play is very aggressive, maybe physically domineering, and then when you're not in the bedroom, sometimes that physical interaction may bleed over, right?
I'm not saying it may. I'm
Or
saying do you believe there is a world that it could not bleed over? Like if you are and this, I mean, this is it should be. You should be able to. It's like consent with sex. If I say yes right now and midway through, I'm like, nah.
I think that
this should be a no.
I think the fact that there is an industry that exists, right, of people paying to be dominated in a specific context. Some of those people are married in relationships. I mean, some of those people are poly, some of the, whatever, right? But that they go to a professional for that because they don't want to bring it into their personal lives. I think that there's something significant about that, right? Because I think the way that we relate to people, the lines do get blurred. Like if it's someone that you're sexually intimate with, right? And I say sexually intimate rather than just intimate because you can have intimacy with people without having sex with them, without ever having sex with them, right? But someone that you're sexually intimate with and that interaction is a certain way, it informs how you relate to that person because it's intimacy. It's literally like connection, whether it's soul connection, body connection, mind connection, whatever, right? And so, I think that it does bleed over. And I think that, some people are very, very good at compartmentalizing. Some people are very, very good at seeking consent every time for everything. But when you're in a long-term relationship and you fall into patterns and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, sometimes it's even within the sexual context, it's difficult sometimes because you may do something that you've had consent for before, you don't seek consent again, and the person's like, oh, well, I wasn't okay with that. And it leads into this, well, you were okay with it before and blah, blah, and what changed, and right? Rather than addressing the issue of actually the best way to go about this is to always be seeking consent.
Right. Yeah, I think it gets tricky. And I think it's something, again, that we should be talking about more openly because there are people out here that, respect to those that are very sex positive. I'm sex positive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging anybody for how they choose to have sex. But there are people that are teaching things like BDSM or out there advertising these things, these sexual demonstrations, to advocate for sexual freedom, right? And sexuality and being able to be expressive and fluid in your sexuality. And there's many different ways you can do that. And a lot of times they're promoting the toys or the whatevers. Right. And I think that there's a conversation with that pro-sex, advocacy that is, all right, well, when you're inviting those kinds of demonstrations into your bedroom, or if I'm vendoring these kinds of products where it's tying you up or it's doing things that might require a little aggression or, what's the other side to that? Because now you've just invited something into someone else's bedroom, right? Gave them the idea to be tying you up and doing all these things. Now, what does that look like in translation long term, right? Now you just adopt it. And I'm not saying it is the gateway, right? Like marijuana ain't the gateway to everything, okay? Like people believe. I'm not saying it's the gateway to invite, sex play into your bedroom, whether it be aggressive or BDSM or whatever. What I'm saying is that where does the line, is it even possible to have, and I know you just answered, but I guess I'm just reiterating, for y'all out there listening, is it even possible to, have a fine line, or not even fine line, just where do you draw the line when you invite that kind of play into your bedroom and then it's not being, like you said, spilling over into your normal day-to-day relationship? How do you unsee certain things? How do you unplay? How do you undo? This notion of treat me like a hoe in the sheets and lady on the streets type thing, right?
Well, yeah.
And love, I
think it's easier. I think it's easier for
hoe play. That's not a shade. We love.
Yeah.
I love.
You love.
Be hoe. Be hoe. I love hoe.
I think that it's sometimes easier to draw that line when you're like, oh, when we're in public, right? Like, we won't behave the same way that we do when we're in private. I think that that's a compartment that most people have, right? Now, once you start drinking or other substances or whatever that lower inhibitions, again, right? Like, this is the thing that I'm saying. It's like, once you establish this context with someone, it's always there. It's in your mind. Oh, we have this context. We have this kind of interaction. We have this level of intimacy. And so it's difficult to just be like, here we are interacting together, but not in that way right now, right?
Okay, so it's okay to express myself, right, in this way, in fashion, as long as it is.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that
man,
I think sometimes
take the whole bitch word out of it. Just don't call me a bitch at all. We good.
Right. I think that sometimes that, trying to give words different context.
Yeah, like
in different
but
scenarios.
Had that, like, yeah, call me this, smack me. I'll be like, what?
In different scenarios it's tricky. It's a slippery slope, right? And like you could say, oh, well, it's the way you used it, or it's the tone, or it's the context, or it's the blah blah. But again, right? Like, okay, then let's not focus on the word.
Or like bitch for play, like bitch, or
right.
like bitch.
Let's not talk about the word. Then let's address the context. Let's talk about what the real problem is. Don't try to shut down a conversation about what the conflict is by saying, oh, you went over a line by using this word that we've used in other contexts. You can
say the word bitch, just don't say it to me. Like, that's that idea. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can say the word. I done smack whole grown men for calling me a bitch when I was a teenager. Period. Bah! Not grown men, they were big, but did he in particularly smack me back? No.
Good for him.
Though I have fought grown men. Yes, absolutely.
Free's not lying right now.
No, I have.
Absolutely.
As a teenager, more so, not in my adult life.
Right, not anything that you can for as an adult.
No, as a teenager, I have had to defend myself. Defend yourself, oftentimes. Exactly. And that's for real. Don't play. I've had to defend myself enough at times, and you know what I'm saying. And men like to try, young ladies that at that time,
it's very unfortunate,
identified as such, and because I didn't want they ass, especially men that don't like rejection. I had to get a little brolic to teach them, like, listen, I'll fuck you up. You feel me?
Wow, brolic. I haven't heard that word in a minute. I love that word. Why don't we use that word as much anymore?
Because we're old and people new age is just taking over. We're at the level now in our age that everything's changing.
People are using all kinds of slang words from all different eras and stuff. People still say vibes.
I think people say brolic somewhere.
I'm sure they do. I'm just saying let's bring it back.
Brolic. I like brolic. Y'all remember? Do you remember the fight mixtapes? Boston used to have these DVDs, fight DVDs.
No, I don't.
It's crazy. They did.
Was this like boxing?
No, like street fights.
That's what I thought you meant.
I'm talking about early 2000s.
Like Kimbo Slice type shit, like backyard brawls.
Like people were recording fights in the streets and they were putting them on mixtape. Like,
were they
DVDs.
blurring out faces?
No. So we knew who you were. We knew everybody on the tape.
Charge is loading.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, self-snitching is wild. We need a whole
it's crazy.
We need a whole episode.
But that was back in the day. That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
People. Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, I think we can cut it.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We just had Earth Day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you just performed at Grace by Nia. Shout out to you. Hey, shout out to Grace by Nia.
Grace by Nia. Shout out to the crew, to the whole family. You know what I'm saying? Graham Jam and the family. Yo, Earth Day didn't hit this year like it normally does for me. I feel like we're fucking up out here, man. I feel like we've given up on trying to reverse any of the effects of like.
No, everybody's given up. We know
the
this.
damage that it's crazy,
it's
right?
Done.
Like it's
done. Watch.
It's just it's just a symbolic nod to it, right? Like nobody gives a shit anymore.
Let me explain that to you. Nobody on the face of this earth gives a shit about the face of this earth anymore.
It's
like
crazy.
No one is voting anymore. I mean, you got your select few that believes, but everyone is just giving up, throwing in the towel on life. They're just like, listen, talk about survival mode. They're just interested in how they're gonna make it to putting one foot instead of. I swear, every time I talk to somebody and we're like, "Hey, how you doing? How's life been? Oh, life been, life's life, and making it happen. You put one foot in front of the other, and you just keep going. Like literally, that is the average,
straight up
consensus.
Survival mode.
And people are just not, because it's too much. It's too much of a load. It's heavy.
Straight overwhelmed.
It's only like you have to let it go. I don't watch the fucking news. I don't watch. So people be looking at me sideways like, oh, you don't know that so and so and this is being and kids are. And I'm like, yo, I can't even. I hate scrolling my Instagram and seeing someone post like their broken toe on the Instagram. Never mind wanting to go on the news to watch. And I don't mean to be insensitive. I understand this is real life that is happening, and I get it. Like everybody's like, well, you need to be protesting and you need to be making a stance for what's going on in the world. And I think people are just tired. Like they're trying to survive their own life, and it's not that they don't care about what's happening in Palestine, or they don't care about. It's not that. It's like we have become so desensitized, right, to like death, to trauma, to like the world being in turmoil, that I think people are like, nah, I just have to block it the fuck out. Like I can't. Like I don't have it. I don't have it in me.
Yeah. I definitely see a broader level of acceptance for things being shitty than I've ever noticed before. Shout outs to, the people on college campuses, both the students and the faculty, that are standing up for divestment, standing up for ceasefire and ending the, can't even really call it a war, in Palestine, the ethnic cleansing in Palestine, right? People are really taking a chance that like being on the right side of history is worth it. This is one of the things that, folks are now not going along to get along. They're kind of like, hey, we got to have some skin in the game for certain things. And I hope that this is the beginning of kind of a re-engagement. I think that, the panini, you know what I mean? I think that the just the general malaise of economic turmoil and so many conflicts in the world all at the same time really kind of put people into a survival mode that was just like, okay, I gotta hunker down and do what I gotta do, and never mind what's going on over there. And I think that our humanity has suffered for it, right? Because being able to engage with other humans, having that sense of empathy, being able to care about other people is what makes us human, and I think that people are finding their way back to community, which is really, really crucial.
Oh no. Something just echoed in the back of my head. That notion or that statement, like pick a struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
there's so many things that we could be
so many things we could be caring about. Yeah.
Like, and so many things that we should be caring about. I'm not saying that we should.
Yes.
But like prioritizing our struggle, like which struggle am I gonna deal with today?
Engagement fatigue.
You feel me? And like we too critical and back to being judgmental on everybody and like how they're choosing to survive their life thing. And sometimes survival shifts, right? Shifts gears. So
Absolutely.
Like, and it looks different, right? It's a different pocket of survival. And that's even exhausting because you'd have to shift gears multiple times a day sometimes, depending on your room, depending, the room you're in and the environment you're in, who you're talking to. Survival looks different on, so many planes. And I think, like, I don't know, like, I'm going to keep saying this is why we need tribe and we need community and we need each other.
Absolutely.
And it's always going to go back to that same solution. That is the solution. Like, they conquer us the more we are divided, right? They're succeeding in demolishing us as a people, our minds, right? Our spirits. by dividing us. And I don't know, it's like give up mentality, or like the defeatist mentality of like feeling like, I don't know, whatever that is. If you're watching, again, like spaces like this or other spaces that, are looking for community, are looking for us to come together, like link with those that are actually looking to empower each other in this fight or in this survival mode that we all have to exist in. Our battle of survival may be different, but we're both surviving, trying to survive something here, and this dynamic that we have, the more we do this, right, the stronger we become spiritually, intellectually, and we have to do more of this. Yeah.
And the more connected we become, which is how we become stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, it takes energy to create and wear a mask. To create a persona that like you feel is palatable to people, to create a persona that you feel is acceptable to people. And, being able to find people who accept you, people who will hold space with you, people who will not judge you for being you, and who will call you out when you're not being you.
Right. And will allow you to fuck up, because we're going to fuck up. But I always say, like, as long as you are trying, if you are making the effort, if you are continuing to get up, understand that, okay, yesterday might have been a bad one for you, but if God allowed you to get up today and somehow your eyes is open, like, there's a way you can make decisions, right, to shift and alter the direction of things. And I think if we all just encourage each other and remind each other that we can do it, because it's self-work, right? No, we could lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. So I'm not saying we have to be out here, fixing people's lives, because we can't. But, if we bring them to the water, we show them where the water is, you know what I'm saying? And maybe show them how to drink it by way of us drinking it. Then like, maybe they'll drink too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Yo, shout out to everybody that's not okay and knows that they're not okay. And shout outs to people who feel like everything's just all right. Because those people exist too. I think that we have one major job here, and that's to love each other. And whatever it takes for us to get there, let's do it, because it's a worthwhile endeavor. I've never regretted truly loving someone, even if it wasn't for them, even if they didn't feel like it was worth it to them. It's always made me a better person and made me feel better about myself to love other people. And so that's my message to you. Love who you can as much as you can, but especially figure out how to love yourself.
I love that. That's beautiful. I echo the same. And thank y'all again. Thank y'all for tuning in, checking us out, being here with us, being present, and listening to the things we got to say. Yeah, kumbaya, motherfuckers. We'll see you again next week.
Peace.
All right. Let me do a second take. I just want to thank everyone for arriving on time and sticking with us till the end. I want to thank you.
Got to see it through, my boy.
I want to thank you for seeing us through. If you have not listened to the other pods, you can catch those right where you found this one.
They're all in the same place.
You dig. Nah. All right. For real, done.
Namaste, y'all.
We gotta do it one more time.
You are now in tune to the Phree Game Podcast.
Okay. Yellow dope.